A total of 11 former and current public officials have been ordered to refund money spent unlawfully under their watch. Auditor General Daniel Domelovo announced at a news conference Wednesday the public officials will be charged with causing financial loss to the state if they are unable to make the refund. The announcement follows the Supreme Court judgment secured by pressure group Occupy Ghana for the AG to issue disallowance and surcharges in respect of all state monies found to have been expended contrary to law. Mr. Domelovo at the news conference said his office will not relent in pursuing all culprits of financial malfeasance against Ghana. Beatrice Edu was at that news conference for Joy News.
The press conference followed a Supreme Court judgment in June this year that granted all the petitions of pressure group Occupy Ghana for the Auditor General to issue disallowance and surcharges in respect of all state monies found to have been spent contrary to the law. The judgment also asked that the powers of the Auditor General be extended to private individuals who also dupe the state. At a press conference in Accra today, Mr. Daniel Domelovo revealed 4 persons have already been served with certificate of indebtedness to the state.
I want to be sure that this exercise does not translate into just victimizing people unduly. And for that matter, before I issue a certificate, I want them to build a complete file, and the file normally I tell them to leave it in my office. I go through the file. When I'm satisfied, I issue the certificate. So 2 weeks ago, I issued the first batch of 4 certificates, and they are gone and served on the people.
He also disclosed that 7 more would have been served by close of today, bringing the number up to 11.
Starting from yesterday, I'm reviewing 7 more files. And before the close of day today, I'll be issuing 7 more certificates because my review shows that work done is good. And so we will have reached 11. We are going gradually. Currently, the only person issuing this certificate is the Auditor General, myself, because I want to be sure that I start on a very good note. But I told my colleagues, anybody who goes to court, I want to score 100%. When they go to court, I must be able to prove to court that here is the reason why I say charge, and the court should uphold my position instead of their position. So we are doing that, starting gradually from the Auditor General.
The Auditor General declined to mention names, but said a report will be made public by the end of this year.
We will produce a report on our exercise in accordance with Section 17 of the Audit Service Act. The Act provides that anytime the Auditor General undertakes a special exercise or review, he produces a report and submits to Parliament. And we will make that public, that report also public, so you will get that report. Then you will find the individuals and the amount. Prior to that, it is unprofessional. No auditor starts releasing his report, information on his audit before the report is out.
Right, Joy News can confirm that the remaining 7 public officials that the Auditor General talked about have now been charged. Meanwhile, private legal practitioner and member of Occupy Ghana, Asa Nkrumah, says Ghanaians have former President Mahama to thank for appointing the Auditor General. Speaking on the Super Morning Show Wednesday, he commended the Auditor General for implementing the law that has not been used for the past 25 years, which seeks to retrieve stolen monies from public officials.
The thing says if they play the fool with our money, ask them to pay the money back. That's all it says. That's all the law says. If they play the fool with Ghana's money, ask them to bring the money back. This has been our constitution since 1992 for 25 years. We have never tried to implement it. There were attempts to do it. They were botched because they didn't follow the procedure. And so all the people have spent our money knowing that the worst case scenario might be an appearance on TV before a parliamentary subcommittee. You would apologize, probably made to pay a couple of pennies back, and that's the end of it. We haven't sent anybody to jail, which is a follow-on from it. They did have to take 5 justices of the Supreme Court to read what we had read and tell the Auditor General to do it. So we expect there's what I call input, but something happened. And I can never stop thanking a certain President Mahama for this. Not that we got any help from him. His ministers insulted us when we were having this Auditor General fight. But after he lost power, he made one appointment, a new Auditor General. Ghanaians were angry. Why is he appointing people when he's leaving office? And okay, for me, a new Auditor General was simply going to be an opponent because we were in court anyway.
Yeah.
But I started reading a little bit about him. And when he took office, he asked for a meeting. So I went to the meeting prepared to have a fight because we've been having this fight for a long time. My brother, have a seat. And he asked me, why are we in court when we are on the same side? Of course, that completely disarmed me. He said, I agree with what you said we should do. Do you know what? And people of Ghana, listen to this. This man, and I don't give praise, but this man took our law, which I summarize as, if you play the fool with the money, we play the fool with you. Right? He took that law, which we hadn't implemented for 25 years, took the same law to Zambia. People of Ghana, listen. Zambia passed it and has been implementing it. Ghana needed a civil society organization to spend hundreds of thousands of cedis to go to the Supreme Court for the Auditor General to implement it. But a Ghanaian had taken that law to another country who appreciated our law better than us.
From next year, government will not be under any obligation to look for jobs for nurses. That's according to the Minister of Health, Kweku Agyeman-Manu, who's unhappy about what he describes as the uncivilized conduct exhibited by the coalition of unemployed nurses who have pitched camp at the premises of the Health Ministry for 3 days, asking government to provide them with jobs. He explains government owes nurses from private institutions no obligation to provide them with jobs, adding government is only assisting. Aisha Ibrahim is at the Ministry of Health now and joins me live. Hello, Aisha, what's the latest on the situation of these nurses?
Hello, Israel, and like I said, the minister is unhappy about the way the nurses from the private schools have pitched camp in their premises, and he says that they've become nuisance to them and they've not had their peace for the past 3 days. And he explains that indeed government does not really owe them any obligation, and that government is only trying to assist in this situation and that they need to cooperate. Now, the minister is trying to speak to them in what he says is the last conversation he's going to have with them. If they fail to understand, they may bring in the police to deal with these people. Let's get more from the minister who is addressing the...
However, we are operating a country also where there's not enough resources to go around everybody. It's not just you. Universities are unemployed. And that is why we have deployed certain and create jobs for all of us. For help. Even
All right, we appear to have lost the link to Aisha there, but the information minister was addressing the nurses who are insisting that they be provided jobs by the Ministry of Health or by government. Moving on to other stories, the minority in Parliament is demanding an official investigation into what they say is a breach of the Financial Administration Act by the Finance Minister whilst delivering the midterm budget review. They say the figures quoted by the Finance Minister for 2017 interest payment was slashed by 600 million cedis to make the government look good. They also accused the minister of fiddling with GDP figures for 2016, which is also a breach of the law, and have asked the Auditor General to open investigations into his conduct. Minority spokesperson on finance, Cassia Lato-Forting, addressed the media at Parliament House Wednesday.
The Minister of Finance has reduced domestic interest payment by an amount of 657 million and 5271 Ghana cedis. to create the impression that the expenditure on domestic interest payment is being reduced. This is clearly artificial, compressed, and contrived. It is a blatant disregard for cut-off fiscal rules in accordance with the Financial Administration Act, FAR Regulation 193. Bank of Ghana also closes the books on the prior working day. Therefore, Ghanaians must be alarmed that the minister will unilaterally change a long-standing fiscal rules and indeed business rule with respect to only one particular expenditure, the interest payment, for the misplaced and selfish purpose of making the performance of the fiscal year or the first half of 2017 look good. Ghanaians must be even more alarmed that the Bank of Ghana will reopen its books to allow this to happen. The budget did not state that the Ministry of Finance and Bank of Ghana applies the same rule to revenues that accrued on the 31st December 2016, but were paid on the next working day on January 4th, 2017. To be consistent, the minister and the governor should have reversed all cash buffers that were carried over to financial year 2017. We call on the Auditor General, Parliament, to immediately conduct an investigation into the violation of the long-standing cut-off fiscal rules by the Finance Minister. Clearly, the minister lacks the authority to make the adjustment he made under the Financial Administration Regulation, FAR Regulation 193, on closures of accounts.
Watching Joy News Prime, we're taking a break at this point, but still ahead. Abelemkpe branch manager of Mawako Fast Food Joint accused of shoving the face of a worker into blended pepper to serve 9-month jail term after being convicted by an Abeka District Court. His lawyers, however, say they will appeal.
We have taken instructions from our clients to appeal immediately. We are going back to the chambers to start working on the appeal process.
Lawyers for Mawako Abelemkpe branch manager Jihad Shaban have served notice they will appeal the jail term handed their client by an Abeka District Court. Mr. Chabang is heading to jail for 9 months for shoving the face of a caterer at the restaurant Evelyn Boachi into blended pepper. He was charged with offensive conduct, assault and causing harm, and the court on Wednesday found him guilty on 2 of the counts. Joy News' Joseph Akable was in court in our report.
So that was few hours before Magistrate Victoria Ganza delivered the judgment of the court. First and foremost, she had to deal with the issue of the terms of settlement that have been presented to the court, asking that the parties be allowed to settle the matter beyond the presence of the court. She rejected that, saying that it was not appropriately before the court. She explained that this was purely a criminal matter between the state and the accused person, Jihad Shaban, for which reason the court cannot entertain that. She then proceeded to deliver a judgment on the substantive matter. Jihad Shaban was found guilty on the charge of assault as well as the charge of causing harm. He was subsequently sentenced at 6 months and 9 months respectively on both charges. The 2 charges are to run concurrently, which in simple terms means that Jihad Shaban will be spending the next 9 months in prison. The judge explained that the prosecution had succeeded in proving beyond reasonable doubt that Jihad Shaban indeed caused harm to the accused person and again caused harm to the complainant and again assaulted Evelyn Boachi, for which reason the court found him guilty. His lawyer put in a plea for mitigation. The judge considered all that and arrived at that conclusion of the sentence. Jihad Shaban, right after that judgment was delivered, was led out of the courtroom. He has been found guilty on the charge of causing harm as well as assault, and for which reason the court has decided to sentence him for 6 months and 9 months respectively. Both sentences are to run concurrently. He had pleaded not guilty to that accusation, but the court has found him to be guilty now and is now being led into the vehicle away to custody. Lawyers for Jihad Shaban are not going down without a fight. They have already served notice of filing an appeal against this court's decision delivered by Magistrate Victoria Ganza. Julio de Medeiros addressed the press right after proceedings.
Of course, we would abide by it, but we entirely disagree with the findings of the court. We thought that we put up a very good defense. She thought otherwise. She did not even consider when the investigator, the lead investigator on the case, said in evidence before her that it was an accident. We have said time again this was an accident. She thought otherwise. We have taken instructions from our client to appeal immediately. We are going back to the chambers to start working on the appeal process. You know, one day in incarceration is so bad, we are going to apply for bail pending appeal. And of course, this is a very sad day for all of us.
The other part about the terms of the settlement, the court rejected that. Is it something that you are looking for it, or is entirely off the table now that the court has found your client guilty?
No, it's not entirely. We've said that we wanted to settle this matter with the girl. The girl also wanted to settle it with us. We have settled the matter. The judge, at least in considering our plea for mitigation, should have looked at the settlement, because this is somebody who came to court and said this has happened, and this is the same person who has settled the matter. The judge should have at least considered the settlement. She said it was off the table. I didn't understand what she meant by that, but she has spoken. I have nothing more to say. Thank you.
It appears this is not the last of the case, as the lawyers have served notice of filing that appeal. I will definitely be looking out for that engagement once it's appropriately brought before the court. Reporting for Joy News, my name is Joseph Akable from the Abeka District Court.
Meanwhile, Evelyn Boachi, the caterer in question, and her family are happy with the judgment. Speaking of the Pulse with Gifty Andrew-Appiah earlier, her brother, Kobe Ofori Armstrong, the chances of employment for Evelyn are slim, but the family looks forward to putting her through school and encouraging her to start her own business. He also debunked suggestions by counsel for Jihad Shaban that they had agreed to an out-of-court settlement.
We are happy that for one, judgment have been served. Most of the time you hear of such stories, but because of who people know, by the time you realize this case will not even reach it anywhere, but we thank God and we appreciate whatever judgment that have been acquired today. We are so happy. When I told her of the news, she was happy, she was crying. I thanking God that not for anything, that the whole world, the whole Ghana, the whole nation have got to know the truth. And the truth was that, yes, she was assaulted, yes, she was humiliated, with all the stigma, with all the pain around. Just for this pronouncement from the judge is enough to satisfy her pain. By the help of the labor department and also from the Minister of Employment, we sat down and they told us that according to the labor laws, Evelyn qualified for a workman compensation. So they brought the two parties together and we agreed on the workman compensation for Evelyn. It was stipulated in the contract that these terms that have been met only constitute the full payment or the full compensation for the civil side, which was written bold and clear. Okay. So I don't know why they took the agreement to court last week just to go and hijack the judgment just for their own whatever. I don't know why. The reason why she went to Mawako was to gather some small things, some small money, put it together and go back to school. So now quickly, whatever the family can pull together, we will pull it together and put her back into school.
A clearing of goods at the country's ports will be done within 4 hours beginning September 1 as government phases out double inspections. Delays in the processing of papers and other activities that impede smooth operations at the port. The government is warning of serious consequences for non-compliance when the directive comes into force. Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia at a news briefing on government Port Efficiency Initiative announced a full electronic regime for all custom valuation and classification reports, as well as importers and agents documentation. He added that Ghana Standards Authority will also, beginning September 1, take charge of all inspections at the port.
We have mapped out a process flow which will take effect from 1st September 2017. Agencies and stakeholders presented paperless process flows which we have merged into a process flow that will enable compliant importers to really sit in the comfort of their offices or homes and get customs clearance. Terminals which are not ready for automation by 1st September will be left behind and people who do not comply will be sanctioned. Every activity by importers will be fed into the risk engine as we build risk profiles for importers and exporters. All entities will be registered electronically on a shared platform on the customs pre-arrival system in accordance with existing regulations. So all entities will be registered electronically. Validation will be made with the TIN database and the National Identification System when it is rolled out. 2, all products requiring registration with regulatory agencies will be registered electronically in a shared platform on the customs pre-arrival system in accordance with existing agency regulations. 3, traders will obtain required licenses, permits, and certificates pre-arrival of goods via the EMDA platform. These licenses, permits, and certificates will be mandatory for the issuance of a Customs Classification Valuation Report, the CCVR. Customs compliance will be embedded in the Customs Technical Services Bureau to ensure a holistic management of all document checks. So this combined team of officers will ensure the holistic management of all documentary checks with a central customs decision point on outcomes.
Vice President Mahmoud Bawumia is also calling for cooperation from stakeholders, warning it will be impossible to operate outside the electronic regime once it is fully in place.
To achieve these 3 targets by September 1st, we worked closely with the stakeholders with the aim of automating and streamlining the services they provide while avoiding duplication of efforts. We expect the cooperation of all stakeholders to ensure port efficiency. All of you have been engaged and must aim to do your part to make our port paperless. We will not really accept any excuses. Agencies or service providers who are really not ready to go paperless by September 1st will not be allocated any cargo. On the removal of internal customs barriers, these barriers will be redundant in the long term with the introduction of the first port rule in Ghana.
Police in the Upper East region have, in collaboration with the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, arrested 2 men allegedly involved in the production of fake vehicle number plates. The arrest was made on Monday after a raid on their hideout in Kumasi, where, according to DVLA officials, they fabricated the illegal materials meant for many end users in the Upper East region. Regional correspondent Albert Sori reports.
The DVLA task force, in a separate operation, confiscated vehicles with fake number plates within a 3-month period in the Upper East region. They traced the source of these number plates to the 2 suspected criminals, 52-year-old Moro Bukari and 29-year-old Awal Mohammed. Police officials say several other persons suspected to be involved in the crime are at large. Items including a laptop, a photocopy machine, a printer, and an embossment machine with accessories were retrieved from the suspect's base. Other fake DVLA stationery were also found in possession of the 2 after their arrest. Muntawakil Abdullahi is acting Upper East Regional Manager of the DVLA.
We have the owner of the embossment company. The name we can't still tell you for now, but the company is called HFC Embossment Company Limited. For now, we have blacklisted DVLA. As of now, we have blacklisted HFC Embossment Company Limited. Yesterday, the regional manager in the Ashanti region immediately asked for the closure of that company, and he will not do business with DVLA any longer.
I mean, you used to do business with DVLA?
We have embossment companies who supply these number plates to us on request. you are not supposed to do anything outside what we ask you to do. But we realized that he was doing things outside DVLA recommended practice.
So he advised the general public to be cautious in dealing with persons outside DVLA offices.
We are advising Ghanaians that they should come directly to DVLA offices only. Please enter into the office and tell them that, look, I am coming for services A, B, C, D. Don't stop outside there, because you may be talking to a customer who can also betray you.
One of the suspects, Moro Bukari, told journalists he has been in the business of producing illegal number plates for some time now. The DVLA says about 1,000 fake number plates have so far been confiscated since it launched a swoop operation in the Upper East region over 3 months ago. For Joy News, Albert Sori, reporting from Bolgatanga.
Up next, we bring you business on the bulletin, where government is expected to completely lose its stake in Airtel after its merger with Tigo gets the approval later this month. And then later on in the bulletin, 2 persons said to be injured following clashes between spare parts dealers and workers on a private developer at Aveno here in Accra. Stay tuned.
Hello and good evening. Welcome to Business. Government is expected to completely lose its stake in Airtel after its merger with Tigo. This is what Joy Business has picked up from persons close to the transaction. Government, through state oil exploration firm GNPC, was said to have about 20% stake in Airtel. However, due to GNPC's inability to meet some additional cash commitment in the Airtel deal, the said interest has reduced to just 1%. A telecom analyst, Fuad Chilabi, tells Joy Business government can push for an arrangement to protect the country's interest in the telecoms company.
As I recall, I think government used to have like 20 or 25% through GNPC. It was Westel, then Airtel. To be honest, yes, maybe there has been some kind of dilution, but nobody was really following from the government part about how this transaction, if there will be any part or any stake for the government in the orange, because definitely when this happening, the eyes is that like, okay, we used to have some shares. So now what is the value? Is the government sold their interest? Has been diluted through capital injection? What is the new development when Orange is coming? Because some other transaction which is done by government, sometimes you can ask for like some golden share where like regardless if there will be dilution or not, the government will always have their stake not diluted, even if it is small percentage. So, but the development about this and the process now is at the end.
Moving on, Car Bank is launching its new identity as a commercial bank, the first since 2004. The new brand is expected to hold true to the bank's core values and is set to redefine banking using technology as the main base. Now, the program is currently underway at the Mervyn-Pick Hotel right here in Accra, and currently the MD of the bank, Mr. Edu Jr., is currently addressing the crowd.
At significant costs, we have enhanced our banking IT software to a higher platform, integrating more improved solutions that deliver a simpler and exciting experience. This software now sits on an equally improved but very, very expensive hardware and database. Our banking app has also been enhanced with a friendlier interface that gives you the peace of mind you desire because you are in touch with and control your own banking. As part of this evening's program, we shall outdoor our new Car Bank mobile app. It is my hope that everyone here will download the app, use it, and be a proud advocate of the benefits of this solution. The major changes and their significance. In ensuring that the Car Bank brand moves forward as a powerful beacon The various constituents that contribute to the image have been enhanced. We have reviewed our core values to being responsible, efficient, and decisive, what in-house we call Cal Red. Ironic that our significant color, though, is mango yellow. Our core brand values define what we do and how we deliver this. They are core to everything we do and are a commitment to the standards we expect of others and ourselves. The core values have been carefully chosen to represent what we stand for in the manner in which we intend to deliver the highest standards of service and integrity. The new CalBank logo is made up of 2 petals representing the letters C and B. The logo is made up of 2 key colors, yellow and orange, the dominant being yellow. This has been designed to effectively communicate the new direction of the bank and its values. Our new tagline, Forward Together, is our commitment to partner our clients and carry them forward to greater heights to achieve their goals, even as we, as Cal, move forward. CalBank's new visual representation has been put in place to ensure the bank's image across all segments is accurately, consistently, and enthusiastically engaging. This is to ensure that all our stakeholders can easily identify with our brand. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we introduce you to the new CalBank brand, our promise to you, our commitment, is to leverage this identity across our multiple touchpoints and deliver an enjoyable customer experience and engagement. We also commit to continually invest in a CalBank brand and build a truly differentiated positioning for CalBank with an enhanced brand value, improved brand architecture, a stronger and competitive CalBank brand image. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, let me thank the board for the challenge. I was going to single one person out, but let me stick to my prepared text. Let me thank the board for the challenge and thank management and staff for their dedication and commitment to live our new brand identity. I also especially appreciate all our clients for choosing to go forward together with us. And a special thanks to our shareholders and all other stakeholders. As I have always said to the team at CalBank, let us ensure we leave CalBank better than it was when we met it. It is my firm conviction, ladies and gentlemen, that this journey will propel us further and make the bank.
And that was the Managing Director of CalBank, Frank Edu Jr., at the launch of the bank's newly rebranded image. Shortly, the new brand of the bank will be unveiled there at the Mervyn Peak Hotel. And moving on, Chief Executive Officer of Apollonia, a real estate development company, has called for well-structured companies to take up large-scale construction projects in the country. His call comes in the wake of increased real estate developments in an era where the sector has been marked for growth in investments in the coming years. CEO Bright Owusu-Amofa spoke to Joy Business at the launch of a new Apollonia City development.
Apollonia City Development shall see the construction of 100 homes through a partnership with the country's leading mortgage provider, Ghana Home Loans. Construction of the $1 million project starts in the third quarter of 2017 and is aimed at helping address Ghana's housing deficit. Speaking to Joy Business after the launch of the project at the U.S. Embassy in Accra, the chief executive of Apollonia City, Bright Owusu-Amofa, was of the view that although the project seeks to encourage local participation in the sector, indigenous companies needed to scale up their capacity.
In terms of job creation, we always look into the community first. I am a firm believer in local content, but I always think that we also need to, for instance, empower our local industries to be able to meet some of these projects. Certainly, some of the challenges that the developers have faced in the past is that when you start doing things on a large scale, it becomes difficult for some of the local entities to meet that scale. For instance, if you need 1,000 doors, is there any carpenters or is there any company that can produce that 1,000 doors? So, I mean, the point I'm trying to make is while we are all for, using local content, we also need to make sure that we're empowering our local industries to be able to meet that demand.
Dominic Edu is Chief Executive Officer for Ghana Home Loans, and he could not agree more. He added that a stable economy was also necessary to improve mortgage financing in the country.
I think the problem has always been, one, the fact that most loans available on the market are short-term and expensive. But to buy a property, you need a lower interest rate and a longer tenor. I've seen very tangible signs of that happening. I think we've all seen the treasury bill rates coming down from 25-26% to the mid-teens. And so we expect that, and now, of course, the government has also issued a 15-year bond, which is extremely positive. A combination of lower interest rate and longer tenor would actually address the funding gap for mortgages.
On her part, Deputy Minister for Works and Housing was certain her ministry would ensure housing becomes affordable to the average Ghanaian.
We are hoping and looking at a situation where a one-bedroom apartment can be pegged between $15,000 and $20,000, and a two-bedroom apartment can be pegged between $25,000 and probably $30,000, depending on the facilities that we have, depending on the cost of equity of land, depending on the infrastructure, and depending on the local content that we incorporate into the housing industry. I believe we're able to incorporate about 30, 40, 50% of the local content into the housing industry. We'll be able to bring down the cost of building in this country.
And that's all in business for tonight. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Emmanuel Apuaji Ibiafe. For more business news, log on to myjoyonline.com/business. Have a good evening.
Farmers in the Wenchi municipality of the Brong-Ahafo region want government to take it upon itself and cull all pigs in the town following an outbreak of African swine fever there. According to them, the disease will continue to devastate many pig farms if the individual farmers are allowed to handle the situation themselves. The pig farmers have been interacting with Joy News' Nestor Kafuya-Joma in the most affected communities of the Wenchi municipality.
Two farmers in Akrobi near Wenchi initially reported sudden deaths among their pigs to the veterinary office sometime in June this year. Postmortem by Accra Central Laboratory on some of the dead pigs from Akrobi confirmed African swine fever as the cause of death. From then, the veterinary office at Wenchi has been educating the pig farmers on control measures of the disease. This notwithstanding, many more pig farmers in Akrobi, Droboso, Kwase, and Atuna communities continue to record mortality in their farms. Chairman of the Wenchi Pig Farmers Association, Apau Edu, lost all his 71 pigs to African swine fever.
About 2 weeks ago, we noticed some changes in the pigs. There are reddish rashes all over the pigs, especially behind the ears. I reported to the veterinary officers, and they confirmed after checking that the pigs were infected by African swine fever.
Apau Edu said he usually sells his pigs between 600 and 1,000 Ghana cedis, depending on their weight and age. He stated all 71 pigs could have earned him 35,000 Ghana cedis. Apau Edu says many of the farmers need government intervention in order to get back into pig farming.
350 million, 35,000 cedis.
Averagely, I have lost about 35,000 cedis. Within 14 days, the fever killed all my pigs. Government must help us because there is no way we can continue our pig farming without their support.
A young female pig farmer at Droboso, Mame Yafostina, also called for financial assistance from government to enable them pay their bankers since they took loans for the business. Acting Municipal Veterinary Officer for Wenchi, Simon Gameli Kusogbo, told Joy News the situation is very scary and needs urgent attention by all stakeholders.
The tally, in fact, is getting astronomical. About 1,190 pigs lost so far.
He explained what ignited the outbreak of African swine fever in the Wenchi municipality of the Bono Ahafo region.
The information we had was that somebody bought an animal from the north, where the outbreak occurred, Alenapa West. And he came and slaughtered the animal and then used in the process, the water and all that, he had the infection.
A clash between automobile spare parts dealers and workers of a private developer at Aveno here in Accra is said to have left at least 2 people injured. The clash Wednesday morning is said to have started after the spare parts dealer stormed a piece of land being developed by the company in a bid to stop the project because they said ownership of the land was in dispute. The police had to be called in to restore order. Joy News' Favor Nunu was at the site and came through with this report.
It's a second bout in only a day where there's still the contention over land disputes, which is right behind us. The contention still remains. It is uncertain as to whether there's going to be calm or not, but the police present say they would remain and they will ensure that nobody engages anyone in some sort of violence. 2 people, according to residents, were injured. The police are yet to confirm this, but they have also given a stern warning, insisting that if any of the youth comes forward to attack either the police or any individual, they would use maximum force to deal with them because dialogue has already gone on earlier in the day, and if dialogue fails, then the next line of action or post of call will be the use of force.
The police came here to de-escalate the ensuing violence. We've done that, and this afternoon it resumed partially. So we reinforce our positions here, and at the moment there is relative calm. We will not sit down here unconcerned for such miscreants, to cause mass murder here.
But have there been any attacks on your officers here on the ground or threats?
That was swiftly and professionally repelled. They did, and they've repelled it. And we'll make sure that the officer safety is well protected. And anything that may be directed to them or any member of the public here will be dealt with in accordance with our rules of engagement, depending on the force level applied.
Coming to you from Aveno, my name is Favor Nunu, reporting for Joy News.
Interior Minister Ambrose Derry has assured Parliament efforts are ongoing to increase the capacity of the Ghana Police to deal with security challenges. He says modern gadgets are being made available to personnel to enhance their work. This was part of his response when he appeared before the House over a number of security issues, including the recent killing of a police officer at Abekan La Paz.
We need to protect them physically, and that has to do with arming them adequately. That has also to do with dressing them adequately. We need, protective vests for them, and we also need the equipment, various kind of gadgets that they would need to do their work and feel confident. We are in the process of doing that because honorable member will realize that in this parliament, over the years, we have not focused as far as allocation of resources are concerned to the security. And that is the mindset we want to change. And so that's one level. The other level is when they do lose their lives, what happens to their dependents? And right now what we are doing is we're working on an insurance scheme that we believe would cover them, not just themselves, but when they're injured, but also their dependents. And that is still in the process. So the protection is at different levels, physically, and also when they do lose their lives, unfortunately, what happens? In the case of what you were referring to, they were going on community policing, and that approach, we do not want to alienate the communities, so they are normally not armed. But that's what we're talking about surprise. So you see one of the measures now, intelligence gathering is becoming one of the measures that we want to focus on. So that's what I have to say, Right Honorable Speaker. Reviewing the situation. Probably it might become necessary for us not to arm them with rifles, but we can give them certain other type of arming that would protect them. But that is still being considered. There are various gadgets. Some of them are, there are various types of gadgets. We don't have the money to get all of it, no. But we are getting a few.
Now, several inconsistencies have discouraged small and medium enterprises from bidding for tenders, including challenges associated with tender documentation. Is one of the numerous issues we addressed at a workshop on tender best practices organized by not-for-profit organization Invest in Africa for SMEs on its African Partner Pool. Manager of the African Partner Pool, Ibrahima Aminu, speaks of what to expect ahead of the workshop, which takes place on Thursday at Coconut Grove Regency Hotel.
So our facilitator is a gentleman called Mr. Dominic Tano, who, is a very experienced procurement official. He's got about 30 years of experience having worked for Crown Agents. He's currently the National Procurement Manager of the Ghana Agric Sector Investment Program. And so he's a very seasoned professional, and we believe that his imparting knowledge to the SMEs is only going to they're going to leave the training session really having a lot of value in terms of the knowledge that he's going to impart to them.
Okay. And so how do you expect the SMEs participating to be impacted? Like, what do you expect to see from them after this workshop?
Right. We expect them to go out there and first of all, apply whatever they've learned, which I think is going to be key to them being successful. But I expect them to learn a lot in terms of fulfilling tender documentation, ensuring that your records are in order, making sure that you put all the certification that's required, making sure that you first of all understand what the tender requirements are from the buyers. And like I mentioned earlier as well, on the other side of the scale is the buyers, who also have certain requirements for SMEs, and they've also reached out to us, and they've made us aware that they wish that they could get better responses from the SMEs. And I think for us, it's important that we provide this knowledge, and that these SMEs leave the training session knowing what it is that I need to do to make myself competitive.
The national capital, Accra, is a cosmopolitan city with several modern high-rises, making it quite easy for people to assume all of its residents are living comfortably. One does not have to travel far within the city to see residents living in squalor. At Kofi Krom, a community at Aveno here in Accra, residents are forced to live in makeshift buildings using polythene bags for roofing, mainly because of the high cost of accommodation. Joy News' Maxwell Agbagba was at Kofi Krom to meet 27-year-old resident Stephen Ayu and has come through this report.
At night, Ghana's housing deficit is boldly magnified as a drive-through town reveals how many people have to sleep in front of shops with the hard concrete floors serving as pillows. But there are others who would prefer a roof over their heads. It does not really matter what kind of building it is. That is the posture of 27-year-old Stephen Ayi, who works as a factory hand in one of the companies around the Accra suburb of Aveno. Stephen left Kumasi for Accra in 2015 for greener pastures. Since then, he has been living in one of the makeshift structures with 2 other friends here at Kofi Krom. I'm currently here at Kofi Krom. Kofi Krom is a sprawling community very close to Aveno. Now, what is peculiar about this place is that wooden structures in which about 100 families live. Now, the structures here are makeshift structures, or what I can best describe as little kiosks. And the people here living here with their wives and their kids. I'm here to meet Stephen and Patrick. They've been living in some of these structures for the past 2 years. They tell me they don't have the money to pay for rent. Yeah. What's up? Oh, cool, Charlie. Hey, okay. Easy. What's up, baby? Easy. Okay, Charlie. So, what's up? Like this place, how you guys doing?
Yes, Kofi Krom.
Kofi Krom. I just said Kojo Krom today, Takrad.
Kojo Krom di Takrad. You see here the Kofi Krom.
Kofi Krom.
Kofi Krom Aveno.
Charles.
Aveno.
So this is the place.
Yeah. You are pleased with it.
I sit with him on his bed together with his friend Patrick and his 2 children in the little wooden structure. Stephen narrates to me how his salary of 400 Ghana cedis cannot pay for his rent and any advance charges.
2015, yeah, 2015.
2015,
yeah. Okay, if I did focus, there's no work. So I'm supposed to come here and fight for something small. That's why I'm here. But I did here now. I can't, the money is for companies. I can't use to rent my house.
So how much?
If you go, sometimes you go get 3 years, 4 years advance. But for that money there, I can pay almost 20 Ghana, 2,000 Ghana cedis to rent. And my first time I entered the company, I started with 350. But now they have increased it to 400. Yeah.
So you say you can't use that money to go and rent a house?
Ask for 400 there before the month will finish. Then the money also finish. After 400, how much are you going to save?
Stephen tells me how he's able to manage the shack with his other 2 roommates.
No, I did night. Somebody today in the afternoon. Somebody today. So if I close, then them to close, they can't come. Before I close them, they are not here. Get at this time, I did inside. So in the night I'll go.
Okay.
And them too, they will come and sleep at night. Yeah. In the morning them too they go.
Okay. So you guys basically like run shifts here?
Yeah, you are rotating.
Wow. But this,
if you get, you go live here. But if you don't get, so you go day here at this.
So are you able to sleep at night?
Nights? Yeah, sometimes I sleep at night too. How can you do? Can't do anything. You go work, you feel tired. So you can't do anything. I mean, you go sleep. Go sleep.
The structures here may not be fit for human habitation, coupled with a poor ventilation. But that has not stopped their owners from advertising it for rent, as there are people more than willing to grab them. From Kofi Krom in Accra, Maxwell Agbagba.
We're bringing you a lot more of these stories in the lead up to the Multi-TV Habitat Fair coming up on August 11, which will provide a one-stop shop for everything related to housing to make it a. The Paramount Chief of Pasa Traditional Area is appealing to President Akufo-Addo to fulfill his campaign promise to ensure construction of the Nkwanta Oti Damanko stretch of the Eastern Corridor Road is completed in due time. According to him, the stretch has become more deplorable after the contractor abandoned works on the road, leading to motor accidents.
The construction of the 70-kilometer Nkwanta-Oti-Damanko road, which connects Nkwanta North and South District, was awarded to Chinese firm Jiangxi International Corporation in 2011. The stretch, which was expected to be completed in 2013, has seen very little work done, with only chippings used to level portions of the road after 6 years. Traveling the stretch has become tedious for residents and traders who transport farm produce from the northern part of the country to market at the Nkwanta area. The paramount chief of Kpasa, Ubo Tassan Konja, reminded President Akufo-Addo of his campaign promise to construct the only major access road in the area.
Yes, we are appealing to the government. We say Kpasa is lack of a lot of development. We don't have district hospital. It's a very big problem or challenges to Kpasa or Nkwanta people. The population we have here is very great, but there's no district hospital here. If somebody is sick seriously, the person has to be referred to Nkwanta District Hospital. And the distance from Kpasa to Nkwanta is a little bit far. So most of the time, pregnant women, when the person is about to deliver and he has been referred or she has been referred to Nkwanta, they will not get to a hospital and they will lose their life. A lot of people are losing their life due to the distance between Nkwanta and Kpasa. The road network, the road is bad.
The district chief executive of Nkwanta North also appealed to government to release funds to enable the contractor resume work on the road.
The development of every community, or what do you call it, it relies on one major thing that everybody needs is accessibility roads. When I took over, I realized the contractors, two contractors are on this particular road. There's one called First Sky, and then this is China company that is also working on the road. In fact, the space of work is seriously, particularly with regards to the China one, it's not going as we expect. But that of First Sky, in fact, is seriously, they are very good. They are working very hard. It's just of late the rains have set in. So my appeal is that whatever resources that is available to this contractor, especially the Chinese contractor, those resources should be released to him so that he can do the work for us. But we need a road.
The absence of a befitting health facility in the Nkwanta North District is another major concern for residents. To make matters worse, residents are compelled to travel on the deplorable road to access health care in Nkwanta South District.
What they have even done is very risky. People are dying, motorbike accident, car accident, and as I'm talking, when you are going to Damanko, before you get to Damanko, the road has blocked. No car from northern side can cross to Accra. So it's a problem, very big challenges to Nkwanta North people.
Residents want to see development in the area, and they believe the completion of the major road will facilitate the process.
The Ghana Armed Forces is encouraging the civilian populace to appreciate the mandate of the security services and accept personnel as partners in development. Commanding Officer of the 4th Infantry Battalion, Lieutenant Colonel Sebastian Ahin, says the negative perception of the military as coup makers and gun runners must change. He spoke to Love News when personnel of the infantry embarked on a cleanup at the Komfanochi Teaching Hospital as part of the 20th anniversary of its relocation of its barracks from Bantama to Kwadaso. Nana Asenso Menson reports.
Military-civilian relations has suffered unpleasant moments from time to time. Incidents of soldiers invading communities for various reasons, mostly unknown to local people, abound. Sometimes, some of such raids are not sanctioned by the military command. Investigations into some of the incidents have almost always ended with outcomes which are not made public, raising suspicion of official cover-up. Lieutenant Sebastian Ahin tells Joy News the military high command is working towards reversing such misconception.
Today we intend to do something different so that at least it communicates to the civil world that as soldiers, we don't only concentrate on guns, we also, from time to time, will come out of our barracks to interact with them. And we think that there couldn't have been any other better way of interacting with them than coming out here. So once they are seeing us, then we are happy that at least the impression that we know soldiers, like I said, are associated with weapons and guns. That is not what is happening. We are normal people who go about our duties, and when there is peace, we come out to engage with them, interact with them, and that is what we are doing. We all know the importance of goodwill. And what we are doing is that once the people know that we are not there to operating against them, but rather we are working together, I think that once we are accepted in the community, whatever involves the military, yes, we know we are key partners in national development, and we want the civil populace to also see us as such. In our minds, we are key partners, but in their minds, is that the same perception, or it's a perception of military brutalities and all of that? And this is what gradually the military high command over the years has been seeking to change. And so they should see us as partners in development. And then from time to time, people are not familiar with what the military do. So when we come out like this, we believe it's an opportunity for people to see. And by so doing, the acceptability is won and we can work together.
Is Joy News Prime.